Hello and welcome back. I'm Claire, this is Purple Poppy, and we're going to start a mini series, probably a 3 video go. I've got the lovely new Somerset studio book. I've had a quick flick through it, and the one that's jumped out at me straight away is this project here. It's called Unboxing Your Creativity by Deborah Helms. And you can see she's used corrugated card to basically make a journal. And then when you turn over it, you realise it's an accordion. And if you've been watching my channel recently, there's a flip up and flip down, and you'll know that I'm really into accordion journals at the moment. I did the Crafty Cat one that a lot of people did, and then I did the Nancy Piter envelope village one. So we're going to get started, and not only have we got paper crafting, but we've also got some stitching going on in this one. So I basically took a cardboard box. I've taken 4 pieces that are the same size, and I've peeled 1 layer of paper off. This side, you'll see, has still got this paper on. Now, the first thing we need to do, obviously, is make it into a concertina. Now, before I go any further, if you want to join in with this, you're going to need to choose yourself not necessarily a theme, but maybe a colour. Now, I've decided, because I want to use this, which I'll tell you about in a minute, I'm going basically for browns. Brown card, brown thread, brown fabric. Yeah, cards, vintage photos, brownie book page, eco book page, all that kind of scrappy, old, dirty, messy. That's what we're going for. Okay, so we're going to join these together first of all to make the concertina. Really easy. The only thing is, you're going to need to make sure that you give yourself some fold time, because if you're going to not time, space, fold space. If we're going to build up these pages, we need a bit of space. So make your life easy. And I mean, I'm using this brown packaging tape. You can use obviously whatever you want. It's quite strong. Oh, it's quite strong. And obviously being brown, it's going to match in. So I'm going to lay this down about, what's that? About a centimetre, good centimetre in, something like that. I'm then going to turn it over, and I'm going to put this bit on about the same amount. Okay, now I'm gonna fold it over and bring it all the way back down like that. You can see I went much further over that side. It doesn't really matter. Okay, snip that off. Not overly worried if it's not level. This needs to be really, really scrappy. Okay, turn this one over. Do exactly the same thing so that they're all joined together to make your concertina that's got these really wide spaces. Because obviously normally you would just butt them up so there was only a small amount of space between the two. And then the last one, because I'm only using 4 pieces, but it still gives us 8 sides. Down there. Put that one under. Okay. Spin it all the way around. And you can hear it's super, super sticky. It's quite hard to unroll. Press the gaps together and trim that off. Okay. So, join that, join that, join that. And then I'm going to take my scoreboard marker and I'm just going to run between those corrugations to try and make sure that it's sticking on here as well. Okay, now obviously I'm doing it quite quickly because I'm videoing and it's not the most enthralling thing to watch, but when you do yours you can spend a bit more time. Let's put the lamp on so we can see what's going on. You can spend a little bit more time pressing that home, making sure it's nice and secure. And obviously we need to do this before we do anything else, because once we start sticking on top it's too late. And you always need to join your sections together so that you can decorate on top and hide most of this connecting piece. Okay, so how are you all? What have you all been up to? Oh, Leanne, if you're watching, you need to let me know what project you're talking about. I had a message from a viewer by the name of Leanne who said she was desperate for me to finish a project. She'd been waiting for bated breath to see the end result. I'm afraid I don't know what project you're on about, Leanne, so if you'd like to drop me a line or a comment on this video and let me know, I can look into it, and if I have finished it and you've missed the video I can guide you to it, and if I haven't we'll look at finishing it up. Okay, as you all know, if you leave me a comment I always answer it. I'm always happy to chat to you. Right, so there's our 4. This one actually needs a little bit more trimming, but so here's my front and there's our concertina. So it's just going to fold up, but we've got nice depth. Okay, now for my front I am going to, I just want to make sure that's properly stuck. I'm going to use some of this. Now this is 5 sheets of napkin back. Okay, it's the backs of napkins. If you look very closely you can see a bit of the patterning where you sometimes get patterning on the second one. And I've stuck the layers together using homemade cornstarch glue. Oh, very, very simple to make. Okay, you can see this is very raggedy. That's going to be the style of the whole of this thing. So just gonna, once you get it it's fine, you just gotta get it. So we're gonna have that on our front page. I just thought it was a really lovely project. It allows you to use up all the stuff that you've got lying around, either half finished or I can't get these two apart. There you go. Either half finished or bits of scraps or whatever. I've just got some brown ink here. Oops. And I'm just going to run around this edge before I stick that paper down, because again, once we stuck the paper down, it just becomes twice as hard. Okay, I need new brushes. These brushes, I mean, they've earned their money definitely, but now they're a little bit past their best. I'm sorry if you can hear the washing machine going in the background. I'm trying to get 20 jobs done at once here. I've got the washing machine going because I need to get some washing done. I've got a cake in the oven because we've got visitors this afternoon, and I'm trying to get this video done, so it's another little job out the way. So I do apologise. Hubby's gone off to a meeting on threat of death if he's not back in time for our visitors. Boo's having a little sleep upstairs, not really interested in anything but catching some Zeds. Right, okay, so this is my first layer going on here, and I'm going to apply glue stick. Like so, and then I'm going to take my wet glue and just run down the edge along there, just to give it some extra adhesion, and we're going there. Now I'm only pressing this first half. This is still floating because I want to put a bit of book page in here. Now this is very old paper. This is paper from 1898, so it is super brittle and can only really be used when it's stuck down. Okay, sorry, going right in your face there, aren't I? So I'm just going to rip it off, which, as you can see, it does super easily because it's so brittle. Okay, and we've just got that little tiny edge peeking through there. Okay, so the next thing that is going to be on my cover is a little bit of this eco dyed paper. This is an old rose out of a bouquet that I had, well, a long time ago. Most people, when they eco dye with fresh flowers. I tend to let mine dry. I think there. They've been on top of the cupboard in the kitchen with all the heat and moisture of cooking for at least a year and a half. Oh, which side do I want? Here we go. That side or that side? That is pretty. Do you know what? I'm going to put it that way. See how when you look at your paper, it makes you decide sometimes different to what you'd originally intended. Okay, so this is my front page, remember, and that's all I'm doing paper wise on my front page. So this is where the stitching comes in. Now I've been making these flowers They do actually fold completely flat as well, and I just adore them. So I'm making one to go on the front of here. So what you've got here is, unless I've lost one, you have got 5 big hearts, and then you've got 3, I'll just do this one with you, small hearts. Okay, and but they're so simple, so simple. If you just cut out, I just basically did a paper template like you did when you was at school, and I did a heart shape, paper heart shape. In fact, it's up here somewhere. Where is it? Is that it? No. Oh, well, anyway, paper heart shape. I put the paper onto some fabric. I put the fabric onto some wadding, and then I put a different fabric on the back, put a pin through it, drew round it, cut it out. And then you end up with this fabric, wadding, fabric. Okay. And then I've done a blanket stitch all the way round the outside. So even if you don't want to make this Scrappy accordion book inspired by Somerset Studio, you may want to make one of these flowers, or several of these flowers. Oh goodness me. Thread this needle. Right, there we go. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to start stitching a little bit up from the end, so about that far. Pull your knot to the inside, and then just do a blanket stitch all the way around the edge. Okay, I'm not being too fussy about getting my blanket stitches even. I just want to get the 3 pieces held together in a more pretty way than sticking them. Simple as that, really. So just run all the way around. And you'll see they're all uneven, but when you've got them on here, it doesn't really show. Okay, if you want to be much more accurate, then that's absolutely fine, you go for it. But part of what I like is the scrappiness of it. So just go all the way around, and then when you get back round to where you started, obviously on the opposite side, you're going to stop edging it. We're going to join it together to make this scoop. Okay. See, you never quite know what you're going to get when you tune into my channel, do you? Stitching, paper. We haven't done any metal work yet, Claire. Maybe we should consider that. I wouldn't mind doing metal work, actually. You know, a sort of thing where you make like metal roses or giant sunflowers to go in the garden. I'd love to have a go at something like that. I feel it would be great fun. When I had the glass business, I made fused glass flowers for the garden. Obviously, they only last a certain amount of time before nature decides, you know, they've been over weathered or whatever. Right, we're nearly there. I'll take this pin out now because it's just a nuisance. And then what we're going to do is we're going to join them all together to make the flower. And that's going to sit pride of place on the front of my concertina book. Okay, so you can see I'm basically at the same point. Decide which side you want up. I want this one, so I'm going to fold it together like that, and I'm going to stitch all what is now 6 pieces together. Okay, wrap that round, pull that through, give it a good yank and snip it off. Now that is one of the little ones. Okay, so I'm going to get the big ones, and I'm going to start with this chocolate brown one, and I'm going to overlap this one. Okay, I'm going to get a knot, go underneath and then up so that you can't actually see your knot. Do a couple of stitches. Okay, back down, back up, and then just down through the top one. Whoops. And then finish it off. So through, round and out. Okay, so now these two are joined, and we're going to do exactly the same with all the rest. Whoops, come back, needle. Okay, do a knot, find the next one that's going on top there. Actually, I think I'm going to have to put you on pause, aren't I, while the washing machine spins. Am I or not? Oh no, it seems to have stopped. Okay, come back down again. No, there it goes. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I've carried on all the way round, and now obviously I've joined them together, so we've got this like circle, and now I'm just doing the small ones in exactly the same way. So you've done a couple of stitches, pull it through, tie it off, give it a little tug, and then the last one, don't worry about all these strings, we'll sort that out in a minute. Up through the back layer, into the top, turn it round, or that's the way I find easiest, and then just go back down and pick that one up as well. Okay, back through there. Whoops, don't pull the needle off, Claire, you're nearly there. Just do a little wrap so that we know it's tied off, like so. Right, now because each time we go on top, when we bring this together we go on top again. Okay, and you can see this is much smaller obviously than the other one. Now if you poke your needle back out the bottom, you can actually then come up there, and you've already tied a knot and fixed the other stitches, so that's absolutely fine. Turn it round, and then I'm just gonna, that's Boo jumping around on the bed, you can hear, tie that off. Whoops. Nice and tight. Poke it all back in the right way, pulling my needle through again. So now I've got a 3 and a 5. Okay, and then what we're going to do, in case you haven't already figured it out, poke that through there so I know where it is I'm going to put this in that center hole there, and then I'm going to turn it round to try and make sure that the dip in the heart covers seams, if you know what I mean, and it's just in interesting position. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to poke my needle back out the bottom, okay, like that, and I'm just going to do a stitch and connect it there, and then do another little stitch through and connect it there, okay, and do another little one and connect it there. Put my fingers away, and you can see now how you've got this flower. Now if you then sort out all of your threads, trim all them off like that, we get ourselves one last thread. You could do this with normal sewing cotton if you wanted to. We're gonna stitch across the back there, basically make sure everything is connected to everything else. Okay, so I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go all the way across and pick up that one like that, and then pick up this one and this one, and then back through, pick up this one, and you can see how it's starting to tighten and lay flat and close up that hole. I'll just keep turning it round, making sure I've got a little bit of everything all tied up in one. No, sorry, that's a that's a song, and as you know, if you've been here before, I can't sing. So there's your flower. You can now press it flat, pull out that bit of unwanted thread, can now press it flat. You can get some lace. I've got no idea what that noise was. You can then get some lace. Sorry, I've got no idea what that noise was. You can put some lace or whatever in the centre, and you know, like a giant button, as you would with any sort of flower. So let's have a look. What have I got down here? A little bit of that might work nicely. So if I just trim it like that, And we put a bit of that in there. See? Okay, so we've got a little bit of lace, and then over here I've got, if I can shake them out, can I shake them out? Come on. No, I've got some brown buttons. So, whoops, stand it up down there. That's a little label. Come back through, and then I'm gonna just clip a button, poke it through, come back up next to it, clip another button. I don't know why I'm saying clip, but anyway, and put that there. And then the last one comes up there. It's got really warm in here all of a sudden. Pop that down there. And there's my third button. And remember, you can make these flowers with all your scraps, and they don't take a lot. These are about 2 inches, these hearts. Oh. Right, okay, so there's my flower. I'm going to put it flat. I'm going to bring in my book, and this one is going to sit there like that. So I'm going straight through with my needle, pulling it all the way through. Okay, now it's always a bit of a problem when you are stitching through paper, so to make sure it holds, I like to use a little bit of thread. Okay, a little bit of fabric. Whoops, pulled my needle off, because obviously the fabric is meant for stitching in, unlike the paper. So just rethread this needle. Right, pull my flower completely flat, make sure it's where I want it, put my fabric back down and go back through. Okay, pulling it nice and tight, a bit like when you book binding. Okay, and then just pull it firm. Okay, do a knot in the fabric bit. You don't need to go through the book. So there's my needle, 1, 2, pull my needle, get a really good knot and trim that off. Okay, and there's my flower. It's going to move around, but it's not coming off, and I just love it. So this is what my book is going to look like. So there's part 1. I will come back tomorrow with part 2 if you'd like to join in. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming along and spending time with me. I'll see you very soon. Ta-ta for now.